Check. 1, 2, 3.
The D.
Brief.
This is the D Brief.
Your guide to Detroit.
Your guide to Detroit's
arts and entertainment scene.
This is the D
Brief.
Hello and welcome to the Debrief, your podcast for Detroit concerts, comedy, plays, food, drink, and more. It is Tuesday, June 11th, 2019, and I'm your co-host. My name is Seth Ressler.
And I am Becky Scarcello, and today I have to give a shout out to my parents. It is their 64th anniversary.
64 years?
Yes, married to this same person. Yes.
I've
Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm impressed. So, welcome back. You feeling better?
I'm getting there.
Dude, I'm miserable. You can hear the snot.
I mean...
And that's just the stuff that's still left in my head. Let me tell you, there's been buckets coming out.
I don't think anyone wants to hear that, so let's just fake it through.
But seriously, this pollen season is... Like it looks like it's snowing in my neighborhood.
Yeah, the cottonwoods.
Mm-hmm, yeah, I'm not a fan. So if you hear me,
we'll do our best.
I apologize in advance. Look, here's the deal. If you've never listened to the podcast, I'm the new guy. I am not from Detroit, which is why I'm allergic to it.
That's partly it. Yeah.
And you've been here for a while. On today's show, Bob Seger. Final run here in Detroit.
Mm-hmm. Farewell tour.
Yeah, last 6 shows that he's doing. We'll talk about that.
I'm going to tell you about a Detroiter that just won a Tony Award and had a great speech.
Ooh, nice. And I've got Father's Day suggestions. If your father is as difficult to shop for as mine is, you want to listen.
Tony Rocco is going to be here on Friday for our Spotlight interview. He's the artist, many things, but something you may know is the Atwater Brewing beer labels.
Is it bad that that's how I know my fine artists?
I'm just playing to who I'm talking to.
Yeah, I'm just, Pablo Picasso never did a beer label.
He did not, yeah. So Tony's got one up on him.
We talk about a lot of things in this podcast. If you want links to everything that we talk about in the show, here's what you do. Go to our website. It is thedebriefdetroit.com. And while you're there, sign up for our email list. We will send you links to everything that we talk about. You will be cooler than all of your friends.
Also, you can text the word Detroit to 444-999 and sign up that way.
Let's get into it and meet today's co-host.
The D Brief.
All right, Becky, there is an event that has happened the past couple of years. This is the 3rd year it's happening. It is called The Front Porch, a day of music on Ferndale porches. Basically, bands come out, or musical artists of all different styles, and they perform on all these different porches. And we have the founder and executive producer, Michael Benghiat. He is joining us in advance of the big event, which is Saturday, June 22nd, right? Thank you so much for being here on the show.
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Talk a little bit about this concept, because this is a really interesting way to do a day of music.
Yeah.
Well, as you said, Seth, it's The Front Porch, a day of music on Ferndale porches, and it's pretty much what it says. It's bands and artists and performers come out and perform on neighborhood porches, and this year we have 30 porches and 58 performances from noon to 7 on Saturday, June 22nd.
Fantastic.
What types of styles of music are we talking about here?
If you name it, we probably have it. So this is our 3rd annual event, and ever since the first year in 2017, we've been expanding the programming, and every type of music genre that you can think of is there, from the typical type of music you'd think of on porches is the way it used to be heard in kind of like an old-time hootenanny, is Americana and folk music. But we've expanded from that all the way to jazz, blues. We have surf, punk. We have some hip hop and rap.
I haven't hit my surf punk quota for the year, so I feel like I'm due.
Well, then you got to come out.
You got to come out, yeah. And you've got some real favorites, Detroit favorites that are there every year.
Some artists that have been around for a while. So Jill Jack, although they might not like me referencing them being around for a long time, but nevertheless, they've been around for a while. So
Legend.
Legendary.
Iconic. How about iconic?
Iconic.
That's good.
Yes.
So Jill Jack, the David Bierman Overdrive, the Detroit Dives. If you're from here, as you are, Becky, and Seth probably never heard of this band, but the Polish Muslims.
Oh, yes.
Which are kind of a polka spoof type of band, and they've been around since the 80s.
They did a guest verse on an Eminem record, right?
I don't know about that. So some artists that are well known to the Detroit metro area.
This is the third year that you've done it. If somebody's never been to the event before, what is the best way to do it?
Sort of strategize.
Yeah, because it's a lot. You've got how many bands and how many porches?
58 bands, 30 porches within somewhat of a 1 mile radius, and we start out on the east side of Woodward with a handful of porches, and then we move to the west side of Woodward.
So walking shoes, sunblock,
exactly.
and water.
Very bike friendly, walk friendly,
and we promote it as such. So it's a very family friendly event. So you'll see walkers, you'll see bikers, you'll see people with strollers, and people with dogs. Bring your dog out.
Perfect.
So we actually had a promotion last year called the Front Pooches.
I love it.
So we're hoping to extend that to this year as well.
It's completely free.
Of course,
no gates, no tickets.
We can't. We can't gate the neighborhoods of Ferndale, so it's all free. And it's it's all about bringing great music to the people. And look, even though we're in Ferndale, there are people that come from all around the area. So not only Berkeley and Pleasant Ridge and Oak Park and Southfield and Birmingham, but I've bumped into people from the Grosse Pointes, from Port Huron, and even and Macomb and other communities as well.
Now, what about kids? Is this an event people can bring kids to?
Again, it's family friendly, so the music is as such. We have some artists that are known to maybe have some explicit lyrics, but we ask them to kind of tone it down.
The polka band curses up a storm.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
However, I'm glad you teed this up, Seth. But we do have a children's band this year called.
You like that? That's professional, right there.
Miss Paula and the Candy Bandits. It's rock and roll for kids, and then in parentheses they put and their parents. So we're hoping that that's going to draw a good crowd, and we'll see how it goes. And if we get good response, maybe we'll expand our children's lineup next year.
Now, I heard you say there's something new this year after 7 p.m. If you don't want to just leave Ferndale, what do you do?
Exactly. So, we had a lot to do getting this event up and running, and we wanted to get the event under our feet the first year. But we did have this thought in year one and year two where we knew we were getting lots of people coming down to the Ferndale area. In year one, we think we were in the neighborhood of about 4,000 to 5,000 people. And last year, we think we were nearing 6,000. And it's all estimates by us and volunteers and also some police estimates. But nevertheless, there's all these people down here. How do you keep them here after the music stops in the neighborhoods at 6 and this year 7? And we've been trying to get some of the Ferndale merchants and venues involved where maybe we have music there. You got the Magic Bag, and you got Rosie O'Grady's, you got One-Eyed Betty's, and they have had music in the past. But how do you keep the music going, and how can we extend the event into the downtown area? And this year we think we finally did it. Not we think, we did it. And on Vester Street, the first block east of Woodward on Vester, we have M Brew and Valentine's Distillery and the CrossFit HCS over there that are going to host 3 bands from 7 o'clock after we stop in the neighborhoods all the way until about 10 o'clock.
So you can drink or work out depending on what you want to do. Right.
Isn't that great?
I know which one I'll be doing.
The after party. That sounds great.
If people want to go online and get more details, where do they find out all the information?
TheFrontPorchMI.com. We officially announced the full lineup, schedule, porches, times, and everything last night, so it's all up there.
Awesome. Well, Michael, we're glad you're here. Hang out and enjoy the show.
This is the D.
Brief.
Becky, let's start with music news. What's going on?
Sure. So the Tony Awards were just given out this past Sunday, and a Detroit native won an award. So Celia Keenan Bolger, she won a Tony Award, Best Featured Actress in a Play, for her performance as Scout in Aaron Sorkin's adaptation of To Kill a Mockingbird.
We've been talking a lot about this because this
Yes.
stars Jeff Daniels.
Exactly.
Aaron Sorkin, I'm a huge fan. I took his masterclass online.
Really?
Like, that's
Wow.
how big a fan. I love Sports Night. I love The West Wing. I love his movies. I love everything but Studio 60, which I just thought sucked.
Weren't you out on the West Coast?
Well, I was. I
Could
grew
you
up
have
on
been an
that.
extra in West Wing?
I guess, I don't know. That would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, that
I would
would've-
have loved to
You
have
would've-
been.
yeah, you would've
I would have
liked
been
to.
all about that. So I'm a big Aaron Sorkin fan.
Yes, yeah, and I know we've talked to David Kiley from Encore, Michigan. He has seen the play and just said it's fantastic. Now, Jeff Daniels was also up for a nomination, but Celia, in her speech, it was really great. She thanked her parents for their lessons basically about equality, and she thanked them for staying in the city of Detroit when so many white residents were leaving. So she talked about that. I've loved the theater since I was 5 years old growing up in Detroit. She said she grew up in a neighborhood where her grandparents had a cross burned on their front lawn because they were welcoming to black families as the integration was happening in the
Wow.
neighborhoods. Yeah. And even after all that, her parents stayed and raised their kids there. So she's a proud Mosaic Youth Theater alum. So support Mosaic Youth. It's amazing. It's turned out so many people that go on to do this for their career. So also another Tony was awarded to Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations. So they got one for Best Choreography. They were nominated for 12.
But Jeff Daniels, goose egg, huh?
He was nominated, but lost out.
Have you ever had any run-ins with him in your years here?
I haven't had any run-ins with him, but I wish I had, because here's a quick story. The Front Porch, the original concept was to be a television show. And we've actually pitched Detroit Public Television, and then recently we were greenlit for a show. And the premise of the show was for us to travel around the state and feature rising, up-and-coming acts where they'd be interviewed on a front porch in their hometown, and they'd perform as well. So anyway, it's morphed a little bit, the concept, and we may not travel around the country, but instead we are looking for possibly an iconic porch where we can use that as our kind of our stage for the TV show.
An iconic porch.
Yes.
Yeah.
How many iconic porches do you know?
There are some.
There
I
are
would
some?
say,
How
yeah,
about-
if you really think.
We actually looked at the Whitney downtown.
Oh,
There's a
all right.
space. There's a
That's
space
good.
there.
Oh my gosh, the Grand Hotel.
But nevertheless, we know that Jeff Daniels is from the area in Chelsea, and I know he has a beautiful home with a great wraparound porch. And I actually reached out to his people, his peeps, and we never heard back from them. So
Okay, well, he
if-
listens to the
if
debrief.
Jeff,
so.
if
Yeah.
you're
Jeff,
listening,
Jeff, if you're listening.
Call us
we'd love to
back.
use your porch.
You rent out your porch? How much,
Sure.
I don't know
Sure.
if he needs the
yeah,
rental.
he probably doesn't need the supplemental income.
Well, yeah, we take good care of it. So, Bob Seger, farewell tour. He's got 4 more shows. So, you got 4 more chances to see him at DTE. The last one is happening June 21st. So, between now and then. Did you see that DTE just renamed their address? So, it's now 33 Bob Seger Drive.
So I'm going to make a confession, and I'm not from Detroit.
Okay, so.
That's not it. We all knew that already.
Right, yeah, but
But he is very much a regional phenomenon early in his
Yes.
career.
Yes.
He was a superstar here at a time when he was not a big deal, right? Because
I'm not originally from here either. I'm from the East Coast, and I always thought of Bob Seger as the Bruce Springsteen of the Midwest.
yeah, I mean, right.
Yeah.
I think that.
No, yeah, he definitely had that identity.
So
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I can see how revered he is in this area.
More so
That's
here, yeah. Mhm.
obvious to me, but I don't know a lot about him.
Okay.
So I did some homework. I researched some stuff,
Nice.
and I want to test your knowledge. And we'll test you because you're a music fan. You may
And he's
know,
been here longer
You've
than
been
you.
you've been here a
Okay,
long time. You
sure.
don't have the same excuse that I do. So,
Okay.
Bob Seger trivia.
Oh boy, this is not going to be my strong suit, but I'll try.
We will see. I think you'll do all right.
Okay.
First question. I'll name a song, and you name the film or the television show or the video production that it is associated
Oh
with.
boy.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Old time rock and roll.
Risky business.
Yeah, you know the scene.
When
Tom Cruise.
Tom
In his
Cruise
underwear.
comes out and slides on the floor in his underwear and a white shirt.
Yep.
One of the highlights of my childhood.
That was? The tidy whities?
No,
that
I'm
does
just
it for
kidding.
you? Ugh.
No, it really doesn't.
Shakedown.
Oh, Miami Vice?
Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, okay.
Beverly Hills Cop 2.
2. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's the one I knew because that soundtrack was a big deal when I when
I
was growing
loved
up. That's
those
my
movie
top one.
soundtracks. Yes.
I love those movies too.
Oh,
Those-
yeah.
the-
They're so fun. Eddie Murphy at his
The
best.
first one was just a classic.
Mm-hmm.
This one's easy. Like a Rock.
Oh, the Chevy.
Yeah.
Right.
Chevy
The,
truck.
with
Yes.
trucks.
Oh,
yeah.
got it. Yes.
All right, here's another trivia question. Bob Seger was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2004. Who gave the induction speech?
For Bob Seger.
Mitch Ryder.
You want to guess?
Iggy Pop.
Kid Rock.
Really?
You know,
You
that
were
was
gonna
going to be
say
my
it?
second guess.
I believe
Honestly,
you.
it
I
was.
believe you.
Name the 1998 hit song that contained this lyric. Her parents threw big parties. Everyone was there. They hung out with folks like Dennis Hopper, Bob Seger,
Oh, and
Sonny and Cher. That's going to be stuck in your head all night.
But the title of the song?
Wow.
Her parents threw big parties. Everyone was there. They hung out with folks like Dennis Hopper, Bob Seger, Sonny and Cher.
Can we have multiple choice, please? I mean, I know the song, but I'm trying to get it all.
And being a big music fan, I'm somewhat like embarrassed.
I know,
this
me
was
too.
a one-hit wonder. One-hit wonder. Never had
Oh.
another hit. This is this guy's only hit.
Oh my God.
I can't.
Give us a hint.
I'm going to give you the answer. It's Sean Mullins, Lullaby.
Oh, Lullaby, but I would not have come up with Sean Mullins, to be
Yeah,
honest
yeah.
with you. Yeah.
In 1976, Bob Seger was only big in Detroit. One night, he played for only 1,000 people in Chicago. But the night before that, he played for 80,000 in Metro Detroit.
Whoa.
What venue was that performance at?
It only could be the Silverdome.
Yeah,
Yep,
Silverdome.
that's right.
Yeah.
Silverdome in Pontiac.
Good.
In 1968, Seger turned down what record label, signing with Capitol Records instead?
A&M.
Where did he sign with?
He signed with Capitol
Capitol.
Records. Who did he turn down?
Warner Brothers.
Motown.
No.
Yeah.
That
He
makes
turned-
sense.
Yeah, it does.
We
That's a
should
great
have.
question. We should have guessed
Yeah,
that.
we should have gotten that one.
All right, last question. In September of 2017, Bob Seger played the last concert ever held at what iconic Detroit venue?
It's the Palace.
No, the Silverdome. Oh, no, 2017.
2017.
Oh, no.
It's the Palace.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's the Palace.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Good job. All right, you guys did okay. You held your own.
Becky killed it.
No. I think we were even.
All right, what do you got for concert picks?
Oh, sure. So Thursday, June 13th, Buddy Guy and Kenny Wayne Shepherd Band at Meadowbrook. Tank and the Bangas are at Majestic Theater also on Thursday. Friday, June 14th. So this is really cool. The garden at the Whitney, they do those garden parties. They're starting the first of their Motown Review Fridays.
See, I told you, the front porch.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
This is back in the garden, but yeah, you can come out through the front porch. So a friend of the pod, Apropos, who we've had on and has co-hosted with us, just an incredible talent. He is doing 5 of these. It's 7 to 9 is music with happy hour before every Friday, different artists. Like I said, he'll do 5, but it's always going to be a Motown review. So check that out. Fun Fridays in the summer. Also, this Friday, June 14th, Ms. Corona is at PJ's Lager House. She's a photographer, but also a musician, hip hop artist. She was in 8 Mile, the movie. I don't know if you know Ms. Corona.
Which one was she was? It's been a while. I got to go back and watch that. I have
Yeah.
not watched that since I moved to Detroit.
Oh, okay, you should.
And I really feel like I should because I feel like I would get a lot more.
Watch it
out
before
of
Friday and go see
see
Ms. Corona.
Miss Corona.
June 15th, which is this Saturday, the 99.5 Hoedown. This is the 37th annual Hoedown event. It's at the DTE. Or also on Saturday, you could head out to the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater, former Shane Park, and see Charlie Wilson and the Whispers.
Now, you used to work in radio. Were you ever at the Hoedown?
I have been to the Hoedown.
Are you a country music?
Well,
do you like-
fan?
being a music fan, I have a very eclectic taste in music, and I listen to all kinds of music, and I love country as well.
Oh,
but
perfect.
I probably lean a little bit more toward old school country. I'm talking like Charlie Pride.
37 years old is yeah.
I'm a little older than that. Do you even know who Charlie Pride is?
No, but maybe he was at the first one of these. They've been doing this
No, I
for
don't think so.
37 years.
I don't think he would
No,
have
Charlie
been, but-
Pride wasn't there.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
country is not my forte.
Me neither, but some of it.
Hootie and the Blowfish and Darius Rucker.
They turn
come
more
on.
country.
Yeah.
A little crossover. So Saturday, June 15th, I also wanted to mention not strictly a concert, but it's the Juneteenth Jubilee at the Charles Wright Museum of African American History. You've got family fun, culture, food, entertainment, whole 9 yards to celebrate Juneteenth. And then Tuesday, June 18th, New Kids on the Block are doing their mixtape tour.
You want to know my
LCA.
age?
Well-
my first cassette ever was Hanging
boy.
Tough. Yeah.
Oh,
So, much of my career was in the sports and entertainment business. I was essentially a promoter, and I promoted many a New Kids on the Block at Joe Louis Arena.
Oh, yeah. So they're coming back.
I can't believe they
LCA.
can still play a venue this big.
Yeah,
I
you're
mean,
right.
that's a lot of.
I know. I would assume they
and
would
who's
be
going?
with another band.
That's
I'm assuming housewives.
I was just
Who are
going to say
reliving
a lot
glory
of my
days.
peer
Okay.
group.
yeah. You ever hear that song 1985 by Bowling for Soup about the woman
Yes,
who's like,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
that
Yes.
woman.
Okay.
is
And they're
going-
like, woo! Yeah. Drinking rosé.
This is the D.
Brave.
All right, Michael, we got to talk about something that we've started here because we have had so many people who have come in and sat in that chair that you are in right now who have been guests on the podcast, and they walk out of here and they're like, I love doing podcasts. I want to do more podcasts. And we're like, you should do more podcasts. And then they go, I don't know how.
And we say, we do. We can
Yes.
help you.
So we launched Michigan Podcast Productions. And the whole idea is if you have an arts and entertainment organization here in the Detroit area, which means you have a fan base, but whether you're a musician, whether you're a comedian, a restaurant, whether you're a theater, whatever it is,
Museums.
we would love to help you launch a podcast. If that's something you're interested in, we've got a website for you. It is MichiganPodcastProductions.com. Go check it out.
This is the D. Breathe.
Detroit.
Let's talk for a moment about Father's Day. I am not a father. I don't care what anybody says.
I've been called a mother.
I'm not a father either.
That's true. You're not. You are a father.
I am a father.
And you have a father.
I have a father and I have a husband who is a father.
So let's talk about Father's Day because my dad is incredibly difficult to shop for.
Oh, really?
Well, first of all, he's got everything.
Well, I am definitely running into that now. My dad's in his 80s, and how many things
Right.
can
They
you
hit a
get?
stage where they're like, no more stuff.
Yeah, and they kind of go and buy whatever they want.
Have your parents had the downsizing conversation?
I'm looking
No
to downsize.
You
No
are.
comment.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Smart.
So when the kids move out of the house and finally you're looking around going, who's going to clean all this
But here's the
stuff?
thing. Fortunately, my wife and I were not collectors.
So you don't have a bunch
But
of
my
stuff.
parents were.
Same.
Maybe you are collectors and your kids just haven't gotten you enough stuff for Father's Day.
It's okay. They don't need to get me stuff.
He wants time, quality time.
Yes.
We were talking about
I
this.
got to tell you, that talk for me was actually a little heartbreaking.
With your parents?
Yeah, when my parents come to it, Seth,
Oh.
we're thinking about downsizing.
Were they like, here's
Wait,
all your crap?
wait a
we've been
minute.
trying-
Were
They-
you
they've
already
been
out of the
trying-
house?
Yeah.
but my stuff is there that I
Okay.
I don't want to fit them up.
Funny story. When my husband and I moved into our first apartment together, it was like, oh yeah, my parents, we'll help you, move and everything. And they show up with these boxes that I hadn't seen in years. Like, here you go.
Here it is.
I'm like, okay, we're gonna put this in our whatever 600 square foot apartment. Thanks.
No, my high school yearbook's still in California. All that stuff is still. No, I don't have that yet.
Oh, boy.
So I'm afraid my basement's going to get flooded. I'm not putting it down there.
That is a legit fear.
Anyway, if you have a father who is as difficult to shop for as mine is, I did some research. I've got some suggestions for you, depending on what he's into.
Okay.
Starting with this, cars. Either your husband into cars?
I mean, he likes his car a whole heck of a lot. But yeah, he likes cars.
You? Are you a car person?
I'm not a car person. My father's not a car person. My father-in-law was a car person. And actually had a 1965 Ford Galaxy convertible.
Ooh,
nice.
snazzy.
Did you ever get to ride in it?
Yeah, in the Dream Cruise.
Oh, that's perfect.
Wow.
Cruise
Nice.
in the Woodward. Nice.
See, my dad is a car guy too. He's been rebuilding a Chevy Corvair for like 3 decades. I mean, I think the car is like was younger as a model when it went into his garage than it is now. More years.
Well.
He changes like a part a year. But he's really into classic cars. And if you have a father who's into that kind of stuff, the Motor Muster is happening Saturday and Sunday at Greenfield Village. This is cars from the 30s through the 70s. People showing them off, people who know all about these cars and come in and talk about. Car geeks, you're going to geek out over it.
No, that is a nice event. And I think they do like kind of a car parade through the village, and it's fun.
All that kind of stuff. They've got something new this year, which is an exhibit called Fabulous Fins. They're looking at tail fins. I don't know why. I always thought this dumbest thing to put on a car, but
shake your tail feather.
I'm going to get hate mail now. If your dad is into baseball, sports fans, anybody?
I am a sports fan. I spent much of my career in the sports and entertainment business, and I am a fan as well. And I am a baseball fan.
Yeah, but I feel like you're overlooking an important detail. You're not from here.
Yeah, he's not a Detroit Tigers.
You're not a Tigers. Who are you?
No, but I do have an affinity for the Tigers. I really do.
All right.
But I grew up in the Bronx.
All right.
You
So
got the Yankees.
you can guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
You and millions of other people.
If you have a father who is into baseball, on Saturday, the Negro Leagues exhibition opening reception is happening at the Detroit Historical Museum. So you can go in, you can see the history of the teams and the players during baseball's era of segregation. It's absolutely free, and then afterwards you can head over and you can see the Tigers take on the Cleveland Indians.
Now, that would be a cool day.
That would be a
That's
cool
really
day for a dad who's into baseball. That would be really cool. What about comedy?
Love comedy.
You do?
I'm an aspiring comedian.
And so is Seth.
You know I did the circuit for about
and
a
someday
year and a half
I'd
there.
like to do an open mic. So
you should.
You haven't done an open mic
I
yet?
haven't. The only thing that's come close to it is I threw myself my own 50th birthday bash, and I did an hour-long set.
That's a long
And I
set.
know what
That's
you
a
guys
long
are thinking.
set.
It was my birthday, and my
Sure.
friends
Yeah,
and
that's not
family
even a
were
real-
there. But you know what, guys? I killed it.
You know they had to kind of laugh, though.
They had to,
right?
but they...
But they were. It was genuine. You could tell.
It was genuine.
Okay.
Yes.
I believe
But
you.
How many drinks did you have?
you know what?
You're
He likes his bourbon.
So you know what? You can mentor me.
I am not good enough.
I don't think. No. We have some
did
other
the
people
run.
we can hook you up.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
there's some others. We'll tell you about the class over at the Comedy Castle.
My dad's not into comedy per se, but any kind of show. I mean, I think an experience for your dad is always a great gift, like a play or a musical or some kind of comedy or a magician, something.
2 stand-up comedy shows I want to let you know about. First of all, Detroit's own CP. That's Christopher Powell. He has been on Detroiters. He had a recurring role as Ned, the security guard. He's also been on Empire for a number of episodes. He's performing over at the Punchline in Southfield all weekend. And then on Sunday, he's got that, he's doing that all-you-can-eat clean brunch that they do with Mike Bonner.
Oh, sure.
That he hosts. So that's a great way to spend Father's Day if you want to do that. Also, Dave Dyer, who's from Grand Rapids and has been doing comedy for well over 2 decades now. He's going to be at the Comedy Castle.
So if my kids said, "Hey, Dad, we're taking you to a comedy show," that would be perfect.
You know what? You know what your
So-
kids should get you is they should get you a gift certificate for the class.
Okay,
at the Comedy
that's
Castle.
a great idea.
And Mark
The
release,
Bill
yeah.
Bouchard class.
So
We had him
I'll
on the
have to
podcast
drop
last
that
week.
that hint.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
Send them a link to the episode.
Okay.
If your dad is into photography, here's a suggestion. Do you know that iconic photo of this big brown grizzly bear? He's standing there in a raging stream, and there is a fish that is jumping up out of the water.
Oh,
and
doing the salmon, catching the salmon.
and the
Yes.
bear's mouth is open, and it looks like the fish is jumping right
into his mouth.
You
Super
know that
cool
photo.
wildlife photography.
Everybody's seen
Yeah,
that
yeah,
photo.
yeah.
If you've ever been to the mall, you've seen this photo.
The mouth.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, the guy who took that is Thomas D. Mengelson.
Wow.
And he has a new book. It's called A Life in the Wild, and he's going to be at the Detroit Zoo.
When was that done? Do you know?
That photo, I don't
it'd be a
know. It's
long
been
time
around for
ago.
as long as I can remember. And all those nature photos that you think of, like, are him. The polar bears playing around,
that's so
the
cool.
eagle, that
So
kind of
he's
stuff.
the Norman Rockwell of wildlife?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. So he's got a lecture and a book signing that's happening at the Detroit Zoo on Wednesday the 19th. My dad's into photography.
Oh, my dad would like this because he loves animals too.
I think that's pretty cool. And then if you've got a father who's into the jazz or the blues, on Sunday, Cliff Bells has a Father Day brunch with Sean McDonald. He's going to play blues, boogie woogie, and jazz piano. I would go to this just
I'd go.
because
Yeah.
this has been on my to-do list, and I have not made it to Cliff Bells yet, and I know it's just an iconic
you gotta go.
place.
Yeah, I was
So,
there a couple weeks ago seeing Ben Sharkey.
I
Yeah.
want to go. So, yeah. Just some ideas in case you need anything.
My lessons were sitting out on that lawn in front of Motown.
Detroit History Tours,
Street Film Festival,
Shakespeare in Detroit,
Ford Arts Beats and Eats,
the Heidelberg Project in Detroit, Michigan,
Detroit Grand Prix,
Valentine Distilling Company in Ferndale,
Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle in Royal Oak, the Hamtramck Music Fest,
Motor City Pride, and you're listening to
and you're listening to The Debrief.
I listen to the Debrief podcast, The Debrief, just religiously, The Debrief.
It's absolutely amazing.
All right, Becky, anything catch your eye in the news this week?
It did. So a top Google executive visited downtown Detroit for the first time last week. Her name is Ruth Porat. She's the CFO for Google. Top world female tech exec. I mean, she was just ranked by Forbes as the 21st most powerful woman in the world. Okay. So she came, and it was on the heels of Google announcing that they're investing $17 million in their Ann Arbor and Detroit offices, the Detroit ones there at LCA. So she had a whole day to spend in Detroit before her presentation at the Taylor Community Library, which was about workforce training. So she walked through downtown, ate outside at Park at Campus Martius, apparently really commented on the beach, the fountains, the vitality around there, the Shinola Hotel, the new construction with, the Hudson site, all that stuff. And quote said, "I loved getting the sense of what a city is like," meaning that stuff encapsulates Detroit. So
Yeah.
and then she also has a long-standing love for Shinola products. So
they saved Detroit, I believe.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's how it
So
works.
apparently she loves the notebooks and said, I've shopped at the Palo Alto store, so she couldn't wait to go, to the Shinola store here. I don't know.
Didn't someone recently say that Shinola saved Detroit?
Yeah,
what was that?
That was
Oscars.
on the Oscars.
Oh,
yeah.
right. Somebody dropped that.
The Green Book.
Look,
Yes.
I clearly have a populist streak in me. And maybe this is just my, Occupy Wall Street sentiment, but I mean, I've been to a lot of cities. I've, dropped in for a day or two.
Sure.
I don't pretend that gives
me a look at what
sense, right?
So you're saying what she did was too highfalutin, like
Yes.
it wasn't really immersing yourself in Detroit?
By the way, when they tried to get me to move to Detroit here for a job 4 years ago,
Did they take you to Park?
they totally took me to Park.
Oh,
they
really?
took me to Campus Martius and said, "Oh, look, this is Detroit. Don't walk too far that way." I mean, it was, yeah. So
I love downtown, and I think it's great, and it is a part of Detroit.
and I'll
But
take her
it's like-
$17 million.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, and I don't think she's any ill will, but it just struck me as just
I've said this a million times that actually the thing that because I would have done something dumb like this, except that I read Aaron Foley's book, about how to live in Detroit without being a jackass.
Yeah.
Which made me not do things like this. And so that was where I first realized that to really understand a city like Detroit, you have to host a podcast with a woman named Becky from the suburbs.
Yeah. To really know the city.
Sounds like a good
and that's
show.
how you really
Becky from the suburbs.
Right.
Becky from the burbs.
Yes, yes.
So wait,
Huntington Woods.
when they were wooing you to come here,
Yes.
What did you do?
I didn't give them $17 million. I'll tell you that.
You went to Park.
They took me out to Park. I remember they took me downtown.
And then let's be clear, that's not a bad thing, but it's like Google workforce training, blah blah blah. Like meet some people, get in neighborhoods.
Now they did tell me. They said this. They said 5 years ago, and this was 4 years ago that they said this. So 9 years ago, they said you would never be caught in Detroit after dark. In this area of downtown after dark.
9 years ago?
No, I don't think so.
That's not true. But
Well,
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't like this.
I don't know. It just felt fluffy. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll take your $17 million. Thanks. Bye.
This is the D.
Detroit.
This is the D. Brief.
All right. That's it. Our first show. Michael, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, and it was a pleasure.
Well, we got to mention a couple of things. First of all, we've got a mobile app. Please go download it. There's all kinds of bonus episodes and interviews, and sometimes even snippets from local comedians, their comedy albums when they put them out. A lot of good stuff in that mobile app.
You can also listen to the debrief on your Amazon Echo. Just say, Alexa, enable the debrief podcast. And I should mention we have some pretty good social media going, too, on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, go check that out. And then, of course, on Friday, we've got artist Tony Rocco, who is an amazing artist. You've probably seen the Atwater Brewery beer labels. He did those, but he's also done a lot of other amazing stuff, including some work he's doing on the train station.
The new train station, yes.
Nice.
And all over the Detroit Foundation Hotel.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, we always like to give a shout out to somebody local, somebody that we want to recognize. Becky?
I know it was a couple weeks ago. It was Memorial Day weekend, but I want to shout out the Movement Festival. I had the opportunity to go again and spend a lot of time there, and it's just so fun and just so full of love and people dancing and great outfits and music, and it's one of those things where Detroit shines, I think. And it was a great day, and the organizers just do a bang up job. So many cool little spots to hang out, great food, and I just really enjoyed it. Just want to give them a huge kudos for another year of well done Movement Festival.
What about you, Michael?
So just yesterday morning, my wife and I took a walk along the Detroit River Walk. So I'll give a shout out to the Detroit River Conservancy. They've done a fabulous job down there, and it's just really beautiful, and it looks like they're continuing to develop it, and I recommend it. If you haven't been into it, have you, Seth?
Yeah, I have. I went here early, but I've never seen it. What was it like before?
Nothing.
There was no such thing. I mean,
one of my first jobs out of college, I worked in the Renaissance Center for Comerica Bank, and I used to park in a cement parking lot that was along the river. Like, it was a parking lot.
What a waste.
So, yeah, complete waste. Plus, it was horrible for parking. In the winter, it was freezing cold, the winds off the water. Yeah, it was so much industrial, not access.
There's lounge chairs, there's parks, there's a giant sandbox for kids.
Every time I go there,
there's a cafe.
Art.
Yeah, art.
I love the fountain that's in front of, where the merry-go-round is.
Yes, there's a merry-go-round.
I love that. I love that going down there. Well, look, as long as we're talking about city redesign and smart city, I want to give a shout out to the winners of the DIA Midtown Cultural Connections International Design Competition. This is a competition that's been going on for a couple of years to redesign an 83-acre section of Midtown. They've got these about a dozen cultural institutions down there. The DIA,
sure.
Detroit
Historical Society.
All
Cultural
that stuff
Center.
is connected. And so they wanted to really connect it and take advantage of that. And so the winning project was announced Monday. It's called Detroit Square. And it was a collaboration between a Paris landscaping firm, a Detroit architecture firm, a Detroit design studio, and a U of M professor.
Sounds winning to me.
Yeah, the design, I can't really do it justice by explaining what it is, but you can go see it. It's going to be on display at the Detroit Public Library until September. The next phase in this is 18 months of conceptual planning.
Nice.
And then hopefully they start putting it into practice. So I thought that was really cool. Give a big shout out to them. Look, Michael, thank you so much for stopping by. Once again, it is The Front Porch. Tell everybody what it is and where they go to get all the information.
So Saturday, June 22nd, so not this coming Saturday, but the Saturday thereafter, 58 performances on 30 neighborhood porches. Go to thefrontporchmi.com. The full schedule is up, porches, addresses, times, the entire lineup. You can kind of create your own path and where you want to go. You can choose the types of music that you like and kind of create your own schedule based on your preferences, or you can experience some new music and kind of expose yourself to something different.
Awesome. Well, look, thanks so much for being on the show. Come back tomorrow. Hang out with us again. Until then, Detroit's moving.
Keep up.
The Debrief.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.
Hi, Craig Foley here. If you're listening to the Debrief podcast, well, I've got two things to say to you. 1, you have impeccable taste. 2, you care about the community that is Metro Detroit. That's why I think you'd appreciate my daily show, The Craig Folly Show on Deadline Detroit. Every weekday, I tackle the big issues in politics, business, arts and culture, sports. Whatever's on the mind of Detroiters and Michiganders, we will talk about it. It's all open for discussion. And keep this in mind. News doesn't have to be boring. Sure, we talk about serious stories and we have interviews and commentary, but we do it in a way that, if I'm doing my job right, is informative but also entertaining. Check out The Craig Folly Show on Deadline Detroit for news, knowledge, hopefully some fun tossed in.
Hi, I'm Ann DeLisi from 1019 WDET. Well, for years I've been talking with people who are artists to find out what drives their creative spirit. And those extended sit-downs have now culminated in a new podcast series titled Essential Conversations. In the inaugural episodes, I talk with MC5 guitarist Wayne Kramer about the early days of the MC5, jazz artists Esperanza Spalding and Terry Lynn Carrington as they critique each other's teaching style. I turn the tables on writer and humorist Mo Rocca, and official White House photographer for the Obama administration, Pete Souza, talks about the night Osama bin Laden was captured. You can find Essential Conversations wherever you download your podcasts.